Hey, what's up, YouTube? From the title, you know this is about Trayvon and Trayvon Martin and Zimmerman. Look, this is a disclaimer forward here is I want the law to do its job. I expect the police to act completely, fairly, and equally for both parties involved. And what happened to Trayvon is horrible. Okay? That's the first thing. First thing, I'm not saying I'm not applying guilt. I don't know who's at fault yet because honestly, anybody who's saying, and here's, let me just jump right into it. Anybody who's on the internet, anybody who's protesting, anybody who's doing anything right now, screaming and yelling for Zimmerman's arrest, your mentality and emotional response you're going through right now is the same emotional mentality and response that everyone throughout time has gone to when people get lynched, when they've been hanged, when people get falsely accused of something and end up going and having the death penalty done, people who are innocent who have seen the death penalty. Your emotional response is what led those people there. If you were in that jury box having that emotional response, which gave that guilty verdict and sent them to the death penalty, that is what causes it. Emotional responses to legal issues is what causes people to be unjustly accused and convicted. Okay? So knock it off. That's the first thing. The second thing, when we're talking about personal defense, stand your law, blah, 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 Florida, this and that. Okay? The lawyer for Zimmerman has come out and said this is not a stand your ground, this is not a castle doctrine, obviously, because it's not something that happened in his home or in a home, whatever. What this is a clear-cut self-defense case. And he adds the caveat, so the question for the law to decide is, did he apply too much force? Many of you believe he did. Some of you believe he didn't. I'm not going to say what I think right now because, honestly, there's too much up in the air. Now, the last part, the racism. Okay. If it's true that Zimmerman said effing coons, right, in the 911 call, that marks him as having racist ideals and thoughts. Does it mark him as a murderer? We don't know enough yet. Does it mark him as someone who is justifiably has a reason for self-defense and pulling a gun and shooting a gun? We don't know enough information. Racism does not equal the intent or the action of murder. It could lead to the act of murder, but until you know for sure that that person did it, you can't just say, he said effing coons, therefore he murdered the young black man. Okay? I hate the fact that he might be saying effing coons. I hate racism in all forms. But we can't just say because he did something racist that he killed that young man. It sucks. It sucks because you want to make that leap and find the good and the bad right now. But that's not how the law should work. You got to build a case. You need to take time. You need to find evidence. I hate to use a stupid analogy like Law and Order, but there's a reason why in a lot of those episodes they don't arrest the guy immediately. Because they've got to find the evidence. They've got crime scene investigators, I'm sure, there right now hooking up, strings for doing bullet trajectories. They are looking at this fully. If the president makes a comment on it and the FBI are getting involved, top men are working on this. They have to. And if they're not, then you have to do something about your faith in the system. Either you figure out how to improve the system or you do something to right your mind. Because if this is what it is for you and you think that they're just going to let this die and Zimmerman's going to walk free and the evidence is not going to paint the picture how it happened, then you've got something you've got to work out personally. I'm not saying that there's not historical examples in the past of where racial crimes go unjustly either way. I'm not saying that. But when you have a president of the United States getting the FBI involved, or the FBI was already involved, you have to have some level of faith that they're going to do the job correctly, and they're going to find out what happened. Okay? Particularly with the technology we have now. You can do a lot in recreating a crime scene, particularly a shooting. You'd be surprised. Guns leave a lot of evidence behind, a lot. So maybe have some faith that this will come out and justice will be served. But we really need to tone down the emotional, rabid response. Okay? It is what has led people to be unjustly accused, unjustly convicted, and unjustly killed. Murdered, really. Okay? So, now, to touch on the racism again, real quick. If things were different, right? And it was like a Black Panther or a black man who is racist against white people, and it was a white kid, and he said, "What's the he said effing crackers," and then later shot the young white person and claimed self-defense with evidence that's not fully collected, you would have a ton of people doing this too. Complaining and saying, arrest the black man, arrest the black man, arrest the black man. But my point would be the same. Racism does not equal a murderer. Proof of racism. He convicted himself as being a racist in the public's eye, that's for sure. But he didn't convict himself of being a murderer yet. We've got to build the evidence. I'm saying like I have any involvement. I don't have any involvement. The police, the FBI, the investigators, the crime scene investigators have to find the evidence. They have to build a case, and then, if the case is sound enough, a district attorney will take it on. They will arrest Zimmerman, and he will go to trial, where he will receive, hopefully, a just and fair trial. The fact that this is so huge in the media right now almost guarantees that he's not going to get a fair trial. Or there might not be a fair trial on either way, whether he's guilty or not. And that sucks. And again, that might be because we're emotionally responding. If you want to collect evidence and you want to be an armchair investigator, by all means, go for it. But have a discussion where you say, I believe, I think. If you start a sentence off with those two words, I think or I believe, you've automatically diffused you looking like an asshole. By saying, I believe, right, that such and such piece of evidence says that Zimmerman is a murderer. Or the contrary, I believe that such and such evidence is a valid defense or a valid argument for self-defense. You don't look like an asshole. You look like you're making a hypothesis. You're making a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. For most of you, the first part's not there right now. The educated. You're not educated enough, or you're looking at it from this biased worldview, and you jump into the guess part. You may be right on your guess. You might be completely justified in the end. But that's not scientific. And that's not how you want law to work either. Take your time, build your case, and then arrest the person, if needed. We are going to hear so much about this coming forward. And I will say that for all gun owners and all people with concealed carry licenses, for those folks, not for Zimmerman. I'm not saying anything about Zimmerman right now. I'm saying for the people who are concealed carry license holders, I hope that he turned out to be justified in the end. Because this would be another black mark on gun ownership in CCWs, which sucks. Which sucks for people like me in California that are not on a shall issue state, that cannot get a CCW rate. I look forward to the comments to this video, but remember to to be rational here. Be civil. I don't care if we disagree. In fact, I welcome disagreement because it helps me to see your point of view and take myself out of my biases. To give me a fresh look at a new idea is so valuable. And hopefully for some of you, it helps you in your job and helps you in everything if you take different opinions and ideas and looking at the same thing. This is a horrible tragedy, either way you look at it. A young person's dead. Someone under the age of 18. Which, even an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever, a young person's dead. That's horrible. And even if it's justified, he's got family, he's got kid, or he's got mother, father, brother, sister, all that. It sucks. I'm guessing. I don't know enough about Trayvon's personal life. And again, that's not really what this is about. This could be any case. This could be any case, racially charged, either direction, black, white, Asian, Spanish, Mexican, Latino, Native American, Indian, from India. It doesn't matter. We have to have enough discipline to not just react emotionally. It's not fair to anyone, particularly the people that could be falsely accused, convicted, and then put to death. All right, let the comments fly. But hey, let's discuss it, talk it out. Let's do that. Let's not just scream. Okay, thanks a lot.